On the agenda tonight, we're going to be taking a look at Billy McLaughlin, and he's going to be performing Hold On To Forever. Hello, Phil here from Wings of Pegasus, and welcome to another analysis video. If you enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. So, this one is going to be a bit different for me because Billy, as a player, plays in a totally different style to the way that I play. And, I mean, I don't play a lot of acoustic guitar, but I have dabbled with it in the past. The interesting thing about tonight's video is that it comes from an instructional video itself. So when I say about my videos not being instructional videos, if you guys really want to dive into the techniques here, then you're going to have that option. There's a link in the description below, so you guys can jump into that to watch it. It's about 40 minutes in length, and Billy takes you through all of his technique. So the first thing to mention is that Billy tunes his guitar in a unique way, and to begin with it sounds like it's going to be relatively normal, and he explains this all in the video that's linked in the description below. He takes his low E string down to a D, and then he kind of leaves the A as it is. He then goes over to a D again, and then this is where it starts to get a little bit weird. He goes down to an E for his G, so the G string is an E, then he goes to a B, so that's left as normal, and then here we're all the way down to an A. So, full disclosure, I haven't got my guitar set up how Billy has his guitar set up, but I'm going to give it a go anyway. His high E string, he says that he replaces it with what you would normally use for a B string because it's thicker. So that means that when he hammers onto the string, as we'll hear, you're going to get a clearer sound hammering onto a thin string all the way down to A. If I do an example of it, you can't even hear it. I know you can't see my hand. Let's get into it and see how Billy gets on. And there we have it. So I thought we'd watch it the whole way through just to get an appreciation of the overall piece and the overall composition. There's so much subtlety in the technique that Billy's using here, and we will point out a few things. I mean, first of all, for a guitarist like myself, I've always played with standard tuning, so this just goes, I mean, it's counterintuitive to the way that it works. I mean, first of all, we're not using the right hand to do fingerstyle or to, you know, alternate pick or anything like that, or do any hybrid picking. So you get rid of that, and now we're using it to effectively play our underlying chord, because we've got our, you know, when we're down to the low D string, it means that we've got the lower three strings in effectively drop D. So it means that if you're playing a chord and we're hammering onto the guitar here, we're not picking anything. So as we come on here, we're hitting the guitar, and that's a hammer on basically. And a pull off is when you hammer on, a pull off is now pulling off the strings. So this is all hammer-ons and pull-offs, and there's a change in dynamic as well. The way that Billy hammer-ons and pulls off strings, it's not just all at one level. So like I said, it's really subtle. Just to explain why it feels counterintuitive to the way that I play, is because I've always been in standard tuning. So when I've been kind of singing melodies in my head, if I go na, I know that this na 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 na, I know that those are the notes because they've always been there. So when I'm singing melodies in my head, I know where those notes are. So I can go na 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 na. It's not the same. Na na na. So for me, playing and not getting the notes that I'm thinking of that normally can't come out of the guitar, you know, is really weird. But we're going to stick with it for this video because it is a really interesting way to play. Just before I jump into attempting to play a little bit of this, just a bit of background on Billy, because he started playing at the age of 11 and had his own unique style, and he played naturally the way that I play. And by the way, I know that Billy says in his video about having the guitar up in the air to make it easier to play, but because I've never played like that, I'm just going to keep it where it's comfortable for me. But yes, he played and was very successful, had success in the charts as well, signed to Virgin Records, I believe. And in 2001, he was diagnosed with focal dystonia, and that's a motor neuron disease. So it means that it affected the way that he played to the point where he couldn't play anymore because of muscle contractions, not being able to control really what his hands were doing or what his left hand was doing. So it's a condition that's incurable. So at that point, I mean, his whole world literally fell apart. If you watch on his website, his biography, which I have watched before this video, you can see that he is just through and through musician and artist, and everything was about his art, his music creation, and him expressing himself as an artist through music. So he literally lost everything, and he actually learned to play the other way around. He just found any way that he could in order to continue, and this was to literally flip it all over and learn everything that he had already learned, but the other way round. I mean, it's amazing to think of it like that he's just started from scratch again and worked at all of these techniques to get it up to this level. So we'll take it back to the beginning, have a quick listen to what's going on, and yeah, I'll try and play a little bit of it. So yeah, this first note, you're not going to hear it on my guitar because I haven't got the right string for it, it's not heavy enough. So I'm going to have to do this hammer on. So already I'm playing it differently, but I've got this hammer on, or Billy's doing the hammer on here, and then he follows it up by hammering on with this right hand. Might be a pull off there. And then we kind of pull off, hammer on, slide up. I'm not going to go through this phrase by phrase, but I just want to make sure. Okay, so we've got this. Something like that. Again, the phrasing, I'm not sure. Listen on. I mean, I'm just going to jump in here because this kind of thing is all about melody, even though we are talking a lot of technique to just make this audible in the first place by hammering on and pulling off with sufficient kind of accuracy and technique and strength in the fingers. But the composition is all about melody and subtlety with the dynamic delivery of what Billy's doing here. And there we had this this subtle vibrato, which is something that and he kind of gives it that little wobble. You know, it's not very it's not very fast, that vibrato, but it's definitely in there. You'll hear it dotted around, and I'm wondering if he might actually apply a little bit on the chord underneath sometimes. But let's listen on. And that's when we've got a slide. And then we've got this, I mean, there's an instructional video. Billy can take you through this, but I'm kind of just going through it, having not learned this, or just trying to pick it up from being able to see Billy do it is obviously an advantage. So now we can see that when he's sliding up here, he's kind of going to those open strings, but he's letting go of those strings, but subtly. He's not, doing it too aggressively, so that kind of still fits with the... There might be open strings in there. I don't want to go through this phrase by phrase, but it's interesting to see how he works with the vibration of the string and getting those hammer-ons. I mean, it's important too. It's going to be a lot clearer to hammer on to a string that is already kind of vibrating and resonating, rather than kind of go straight on like that. But I mean, if you do it hard enough, you can just about get there. See, like there, that yeah, and that's with that open D and A ringing. Actually, that's when it comes in. And then is it like that? And this is the other thing. When you're doing these hammer-ons with the left hand, you are having to make sure that you're not catching other strings and kind of accidentally hammering on in the wrong place. So yeah, there's a lot of technique in this. And yeah, because I'm playing this on the wrong string, I'm gonna have to start going really high up. But this I'm not sure that's the right phrasing, but oh, it's a little bit soft. That's pretty much, I mean, yeah, this is me trying to busk it and kind of not putting in any vibrato and not really playing it dynamically, but just to give an impression of how much is going on here. It's such a unique way of playing. So we've got this little run going on, and obviously there's dynamic changes in there as well, which are really subtle. I just want to jump in at this point because when I say about it being counterintuitive, for me as a guitarist, this is a great example of it, because we've got a hammer-on, and a hammer-on, and a pull-off, and a pull-off, happening in a run, and you won't be able to hear my high E string because, yeah, it's the wrong string, but it's that kind of thing that we've got going on, and, you know, the thing is, my brain wants to go and go. Yeah, that's what my brain wants to do, because it knows where those notes are, and it knows the muscle memory. So that's what I mean. That it's almost like the hand is telling you one thing, but you're trying to tell your hand the other thing, because it's saying, no, this. It's saying, that's how you do that, the hand is saying, and you're saying, no, I want to do it that. And then the hand's saying, well, no, it doesn't, you know, it's that. So, yeah, it's just trying to kind of override the muscle memory of the line that you hear and how you would normally play it, to then kind of playing it because of this difference in tuning. Billy has learnt this all from scratch again. He's playing the guitar the way that he plays it. And it's the same for every guitarist, that no matter how they play which style, which genre. They've got their own way of doing it. So then when you try and play the guitar the way another guitarist does it, then you think, oh, well, it kind of goes against what you've learnt yourself. And it's exactly the same for other players who, might play fingerstyle and they don't use a pick. So then asking them to play with a pick and do the techniques that, for example, I might do a run that I find easy because of my muscle memory and just a natural propensity for that movement of my fingers that somebody else who plays a different style might struggle with. So this is the thing about guitarists and playing the guitar, is Billy's a great example of just playing it your own way. And yeah, however you can get your art and your music across the most authentic way possible, that's the way to do it, and that's certainly what Billy does. Anyway, thank you guys for requesting this particular video for me to take a look at. As always, keep those requests and suggestions coming in the comment section below. Let me know what you guys think, and if you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys at the next one. Rock!